it's a wonderful time of year. I'll make the blanket statement like probably everyone else has. We've had a great offseason. I think we've had a good offseason. Our summer went well. We've had very few injuries, which is always key to a season. So far, once we got to school, I think our guys carried a lot of things over. I think we've had good fall practices. And you know what? When you look at our roster, I know a lot of people see 2 seniors, they see 2 juniors, and then a whole bunch of freshmen and sophomores. The one thing I like about it is when you look at our 2 seniors, they're really good leaders for us. JT Gibson, I think, was earlier today, picked second team. KJ Robinson, who's been tremendous for us, who was a double-figure guy also for us last year, has been a great leader for us. But one thing I think has been overlooked on him, not only maybe within our league, but even maybe locally, was he was 8th in the country last year in assist to turnover. So he really led our basketball team. You know, it's 353 point guards, and when you're 8th in doing something, that means you're doing something special. So he and JT have been great as seniors. Our juniors, Matt Pyle, has had a tremendous offseason. I think he came back better than what he did a year ago. I believe he was picked second team again, like I said. Has been really good for us. And Iowak and Wole was great for us last year as a sophomore. Can play dual roles, can play both guard positions. I think he and KJ were vital for us because they have flexibility, versatility. They can play both guard positions, and late in games when you're trying to manage the game, have 2 ball handlers on the floor, being able to make decisions, and then maybe make free throws down the stretch. Those guys are great at that. You know, the other 2 guys that I will mention, I probably want to talk about anybody else, but, you know, Wanyang Tud had a really good Summer League tournament, had a pretty good overall year for us, has made tremendous strides. And even though he's a sophomore listed, but he's a junior, you know, academically. So he's a little bit older. And then Zach Thornhill got hurt for us last year. I thought was a critical injury for us. I thought it hurt us down the stretch not having Zach. But he's also just a sophomore, but also a junior academically. So all 6 of those guys have had success in our league. They've given us some versatility. That does make us a little bit older than what our roster appears. And with that, I'm excited about our year.
Coach, last year you're playing for a Summit League title, chance to go to the NCAA tournament. Coming in the preseason poll, picked 4th, no first place votes. I know you lose Zach Johnson, but you got a lot back from what you were just saying, from what the stats show. Is it kind of weird not getting any first place votes? I know that it might be a wide open league this year, but what are the kind of thoughts about being picked 4th with no first place votes?
You know, really, it doesn't surprise me. I mean, nothing shocks me when it comes to preseason polls. You know, the people, you know, the media who cover us vote. The coaches who coach the game vote, and we're rarely right. You know what I'm saying when it comes to the preseason? It's just all it's all talk. Last year we were picked 8th, and I guess I understood why we were picked 8th, but I just felt like we weren't the 8th place team. So there's just I don't know what to think about being picked 4th. To be honest with you, I don't know what our guys think. I haven't talked to them yet. I haven't talked to anybody. I just found out when I walked in the offices about 10 minutes ago. I've been doing some work this morning and haven't been on my phone at all. So yeah, we're picked is fine. If we're picked 2nd or 6th, I'm still going back today, and we're going to get back to work tomorrow. That's all I know. So 4th doesn't bother me. I'm not really excited about it. I'm not disappointed in it. It is what it is. I understand the polls.
I mentioned Zach, and you know he's a big time scorer for you. Like I said, you have a lot of scoring back. JT, Matt, KJ, you know the 3 there. All of them had really solid seasons last year. But do you need one of them to turn into kind of a go-to scorer this year with Zach gone, or are you fine with them just doing what they've been doing, and you think that's going to lead to some very good things?
You know, I think it can lead to some good things. I think they have to do what they do, but just maybe a little bit better. But I don't think any of those guys have to raise their averages from, you know, if you look at Pyle and JT and KJ, you look at those 3 guys, they all average double figures. I don't think one of those guys has to get to 19. I don't think one of them has to get to 18. I think they have to be a little bit better, and then I think our roster will take care of the rest of it. You know, I talked about Io. He's going to get a little bit better with more minutes. I think Wanyang Tud's going to get better with more minutes. And then there's 6 guys that have had success in our league and been able to play in our league. Then we have to find 3 or 4 more guys because, you know, you're going to lose someone to injury somewhere along the way. It's kind of inevitable. So I don't want to get into that depth, but I will say this. I'm excited about those 4 or 5 potential guys to round out our roster.
Last year, you guys had a very successful season as a team, and yourself being reigning coach of the year. How do you look to build on that as a team and even improve yourself necessarily as a coach?
You know, yeah, as a coach, you're always trying to learn. I'll kind of go there first. You know, it's funny. You learn something every day. You know, as much as you watch film and see things and talk to other coaches and go to a clinic or watch our women's team practice, go out and watch high school kids in recruiting or junior colleges and see something at practice, you're always picking up something. You know, whether it's I like that drill. I like what he's emphasizing there. I've never used that key word before for emphasis. Or sometimes you go to practices and you're like, what that does is that gives me confidence in what we do because they're doing the same things here. So you're always learning something as a coach, and you're always trying to improve. If you think you figured it out as a coach, you might as well just give it up because that's just the way it works. As a team, 3 of the last 4 years we've finished third by ourselves, and second by ourselves. 2 of the last 3 years we've been in the finals and haven't been able to get to the NCAA tournament. So we know what spot out of those that I just mentioned we haven't got yet, right? So those are the ones that you don't even have to mention a lot to our team. They know what our goals are. We know what our goals are. We're going to put them on a board here at some point. And then we're going to stuff it away and get to work and try to get to that. So those are things that we're trying to do all the time, just like everybody else in our league.
Coach, you mentioned Matt Powell earlier again, and he had a really good breakout sophomore season for you. He had a good freshman season, but last year he took a big step forward to you. How much have you seen an improvement out of him for this year? Because he can be a really big force inside in this league. And has he taken a step forward again this season?
Yeah, he has. I think he's good around the rim. I think he's made himself better around the rim. He's come back, which is hard to do for Matt Powell, bigger, stronger, more athletic because he was already that. So he's done all the right things in offseason to make himself better. We love him because these types of guys are hard to find. Guys that want to hit you, screen you, dive to the rim, score around the rim, and rebound the basketball. What a novel idea, right? You just don't see those types of guys much in our game anymore. Everyone wants to play that next position, to spread out on the floor and show all their skills. But Matt Powell's not that guy. He's going to do what he does. He's going to do it well, and it'll help our basketball team.
And you mentioned your 2 seniors, with JT and KJ, and just how much leadership have they really provided for you on that court for you, and are they kind of the rocks for you this season?
Well, I think they're 2 of the 4. If you talk those 2 and you talk, Matt Powell again, you talk Iowaka and Woolley, those are our guys. But I pulled JT and KJ in, early last year once our season was done and said, look, this spring and this summer, it's on you guys right off the bat, and then we'll figure out who our other leaders may be. So it might stay you 2, it might grow to 3, it might grow to 4. I think we're at 4 guys right now to lead our team, but it starts with them. It's their last go around, and you always see seniors. You always see it. They're just, even though they're hard workers and they're great kids, they're in the gym a little bit more. They're pushing a little bit more. And the thing they've really done for us, leadership-wise, is they've now become a little bit more vocal, which we've needed, because we lost a lot. You're right, in Mitch and Zach last year, because they were our vocal leaders. These guys are always doing the right things, but now we need a voice, and we have 2 of them in those guys.
Coach, last season you had 5 players averaging in double figures. How do you look to replicate that this season, even though you lost 2 of those guys?
That's a great call. We, every year I think teams kind of form and kind of develop. If I'm going to put if I just put a ceiling on all of our guys and what they can do, I don't think that's good for our basketball team. So we're 8 practices in. I think we're seeing right now where our pieces that are coming back and our new pieces coming in are starting to fit, and where the points are going to come from, and where guys are getting more comfortable on the floor. There's only been 8 practices in right now. It's hard for our new guys who are talented players to figure out when to shoot it, when to pass it, when to cut, and when to screen. And we're still trying to do that right now. So it's formulating, and we see it coming. We're getting better every day. Can we have 5 double-digit scores again? Yeah, I think we can. It's kind of the way we play, and we've been able to play like that. And I hope we can continue to do that. So we're not all the way there yet. We do have 2 good guys to replace. I understand that, but that's what college basketball is. We replace players all the time and have to stay at a high level. We don't get a coach, Tim Duncan, for 16 straight years. You know what I'm saying? We just don't get the same guys. So college coaches do that. It's what we do, and that's what we're trying to figure out right now.
Just have them get injured at the right time and maybe get those 16 seasons.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
You mentioned the offense there and your guys' ability to score. Do you need to get a few more stops on the defense end? Because teams shot 46% against you guys, 36% from 3. Is that kind of the emphasis? Maybe get a couple more stops here and there, or is that just a product of the way you play right there?
So it's a little bit of both. Everybody's going to tell you they need stops. The best defensive team in the league last year wants more stops, and we want a few more as well. When you play up tempo like we do, and teams try to slow you down, well, then you have to take some chances to try to speed them up. And whether it's trapping a ball screen or doubling a post or chasing the first pass, and when you do that, good teams can take advantage at times. Now it's 5-on-4, so we're going to give up some in order to get a few more on the other end. So that leads to some of the percentages. I understand all that. At the end of the day, it's about winning games. We're trying to do the right formula to do that. But don't get me wrong. Every year we have more of an emphasis in it, and we think with a little bit of age this year, with Matt Paul being better behind us, being a little bit more of a rim protector, we think maybe hopefully those percentages will go down.
Coach, you're in your 15th season at Omaha. You're always learning about your players, your student athletes. But last year, what have you learned about yourself?
You know what? That's a great question. You know what? What I learned was this: is every single day when you show up to work and you get to work with young kids, you have to be extremely humble, extremely satisfied, and extremely excited about going to work every single day. And I am that. You know, I've never felt. I know I look it, but I've never felt younger in my life right now. You know, I love our job. I love our place. I love my staff. I love our kids. I love who we work with, and it's a fantastic situation. And you know what I found out is you should always appreciate every day because you never know when they're going to end. And you know that's one thing that I really found out was that there's no place that I'd rather be at this point in time. My family is terrific, and if we can continue that, then it's all good.
Coach, how much do you relish playing in the Summit League? Obviously, a lot of tough competition in this league. How much does it motivate you guys to continue to play at a high level?
Well, it better motivate you every day because we're in a terrific men's basketball league. We play in terrific venues. We play in terrific towns and cities, places that support their men's basketball. We play against terrific coaches and terrific players. So if you're not motivated to go out and recruit the best, to play against the best, then you're going to be in trouble in our league. And so it's a motivator every single day for sure. When you come in, you know, I'm thinking about what we have to do to get better, but you're also thinking about the other teams are doing exactly the same thing with, you know, resources and coaches and places to play that they can recruit to. So it's a huge motivator. Like I said, I'm fortunate to be in this league. It is a terrific men's basketball league, and I like everything about it.
Coach, you mentioned that, you know, word came out last week that the Summit League has an invite out to St. Thomas, and they're all for joining it. Just need to get the waiver. Augustana has expressed interest in joining. UMKC is joining in next year. How do you feel the Summit League has kind of grown? You know, you guys are added to the mix too. You know, Oral Roberts comes back. And do you feel this league is that competitive and is only getting better? And are they making the right ads here in the future with UMKC, St. Thomas, and maybe in Augustana? Well,
I think it's competitive and it's only getting better. And I think what that shows with teams coming back and other teams wanting in, I think it shows the stability of our league, you know, which is really what we need. But every league needs that because there's so many shakeups throughout the United States and all the leagues. So when people want to come back and people want to come in, I think that's a good thing. When you can add a metropolitan area like Kansas City and you can add a metropolitan area like Minneapolis, I think that does nothing but good things for our league. We kind of already have Sioux Falls, I guess, because of the Dakotas in our league, but then to add another team within this community, you know, I think is nothing but positive. So it's great for the league. And now all of a sudden you're in metropolitan areas. You're in Tulsa and Omaha and Denver, Sioux Falls, Minneapolis, and I'm missing somebody. You know, so all of a sudden it's a great league. You have great metropolitan areas, and I'll tell you what, you just have great places to play. But like I said, it shows the stability of our league when teams want to come back and teams want to come in.
Time for one more if there is one.
What do you think about if St. Thomas is added? What do you think about the league out of that? Because I know it's a D3 program jumping up, but you know you're adding the Minneapolis market. They've shown they've had the ability to compete in the past at the D3 level. Do you think that'd be a good add competitively and market-wise?
You know, it's hard for me to say right now because I'm not all the way you know, versed in where they're at and what they're about. I know they've been very successful. Obviously, they're not going to be in that league much longer, and they need a place to go. I will say this: as a Division III player, I went up there one time and we got beat 25. If that means anything, but that was 30 years ago. So I know they got after me one time. But it's a terrific community. It's a state with only one Division I institution right now. I think there's only 5 of those in the nation. So I think there's room for that. If it's something that the Summit League wants and they're willing to come in, then I think it would be a good match.
Thanks.
Thank you.